Hi, and welcome back to another episode of SEO On Air. I'm your host, Aaron, and today we have James Parnwell, Director at The Online Co. We talk about strategies to make your Google ads stand out, effective components of a good digital marketing strategy, and whether or not traditional marketing is still relevant today. I hope you enjoy this episode.
When it did start, how exactly did it start? Were you always into, let's say, digital marketing and SEO?
Well, when I came out of school, I did a degree in marketing. It's a Bachelor of Commerce with a major in marketing. But that was in the mid 90s. So the internet hadn't really taken off yet. So all of the marketing I learned about was the traditional media, TV, radio, print, direct mail, etc. Uh, and then the internet really birthed whilst I was at uni. So my background is in marketing. Marketing's my trade. I then went and started a number of businesses and did a few different things until 2009 when I started the Online Co. So we've been going since middle of 2009.
Sorry. And Online Co, was it something that you kind of had plans for from the start, or was it something very off the cuff?
Yeah, it happened because I was in between businesses looking for opportunities, and I had a friend who needed some work, so I started doing some contract work for him. He wanted help with Google Ads and SEO, and I didn't have experience with either, but I did have 13 years worth of business experience and a marketing degree, so I picked it all up pretty quickly, and then started helping him grow his business. And then over time, decided to go out on my own. He's still a client for us, actually, after all these years. So we still work
Right.
with him, but 95% of our business is our own now, and he's just one client out of many.
And at the Online Co, what would be, let's say, its specialty? What do you think its bread and butter?
So our specialty is doing 12-month digital marketing strategies. So we meet with the client and we spend time with them, analyzing their client, analyzing their competitors, their points of difference, and then putting together a 12-month digital marketing plan across all the different tactics. So SEO, Google Ads, Facebook pay-per-click, social posting, email, LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and anything else that might be relevant, but only digital. Then we put together a rollout plan for 12 months, then go ahead and execute that for it. So we're not just to come in and we'll help you do Google Ads for 3 months sort of agency. We're looking to do really solid, high quality, strategic work for our clients.
And in the years that you've been with Online Co, in terms of, I think, Google Ads specifically, how many changes have you seen throughout the years? Has it been kind of
Oh,
drastic as well?
I recall Google saying to us at some point in the last 14 years that they would make 1,000 changes per year. So that's about 3 a day. So how many they've made in the 14 years, I couldn't tell you. It could be 14,000 changes. Some of them are quite big and lots of them are quite small. A lot of the fundamentals are the same. But, when I first started doing Google Ads in 2009, it was pretty basic. And now there's a whole raft of, AI bidding and different forms like Performance Max, things that just, wouldn't even have thought of back then.
But so when it comes to Google Ads, then what would you say are like an effective strategy to kind of make it stand out and get better results?
Right. Well, it all rises and falls on keyword research. And I would say that when you do your keyword research, you can potentially come up with a few hundred keywords. And I would rank them as A, B, and C. A keywords have high search traffic and high intent. And the intent behind a keyword is really important because somebody's typed in a phrase and they're either looking to buy something or they're looking to learn something. So we call that transactional intent, I want to buy, or informational intent, I want to learn. You should never ever do any Google Ads keywords on informational keywords. If they're looking to learn something, let them find out for free. Don't pay for that click. You need to only target transactional keywords. We would split them into A and B. There's often some really high competitive keywords that would be A class that are usually quite expensive, but they might be worth it. And then there's the B class. They're also higher transaction keywords, but they're They have lower search traffic, so they're not as competitive. And so that can be a good place to get started. But either way, you need to go and test what's converting and what's not. And it's going to come down first and foremost to keywords. Now, after that, there's a bunch of other things you can do to optimize it. But if you got the wrong keywords, you've started wrong from the beginning.
Right. So keyword research would have to be like the foundational step to making the best kind of Google ads.
Absolutely.
What would be some additional steps that are required?
Yeah.
And
So
I think
once
we'll probably
you've
get
got
into
that,
this later. I was going to say that can AI help out in this regard as well? I mean, we'll probably talk about AI in detail later, but just quick question.
yeah. So the next steps for Google Ads would be around making sure you have some good ads, making sure earlier extensions are set up. I mean, you're going to get a certain amount of real estate on that search result page, and you want to fill it with as much as possible. Local information, call outs, site links, you just fill it with as much as you can. Make your ad as big as possible. That's going to increase your click-through rate. The higher the click-through rate, the better the quality score, the cheaper the clicks, and the more likely you are to get leads. In terms of AI, you can use the AI bidding types. So there's a few. There's maximize conversions and maximize clicks, for example. A maximize clicks means I want to get as many clicks as cheaply as possible, and the AI will learn based on thousands of variables, where people are, what devices they're using, what their history's like, because obviously everyone's logged into Google and using it. And it will go hunting based on large data sets for the people that are most likely to click. And the same with conversions. It's going to max conversions. It's going to look for the people that are most likely to convert. I think this might be one of the bigger changes since 2009 was we used to do manual bidding and we used to go and adjust the bids manually. And now we let the AI run that. So we've been using that AI, I want to say 10 years. It might not be quite, maybe 2014, 15, somewhere around there where we started using this extensively. But it's just there's bits of Google Ads that a human should run and there's bits that the AI should run. And the bidding really makes sense for the AI to run that.
Right. But when it comes to, let's say, crafting the description for Google Ads, is it possible to use AI for that at least?
Yes, you can. You can put into AI, write me a Google Ads description based on the number of characters and use those. It just needs to be heavily edited and vetted by the human mind. Some people say one day that won't be needed. I'm not sure. I'm probably of the opinion that it'll always need to be sort of vetoed or approved by a human. At this point in history, AI is not some magic sauce that'll just do all the work for you. It's an assistant. It helps you do your work. It makes the work easier, but I don't think it's replacing any people at this point.
What are some common mistakes that you see people make when setting up their Google Ads?
I guess the question around should I do it myself or should I get an expert to do it? I mean, we're picking up campaigns that people have done themselves, and they're usually really bad. The most common thing is they're not measuring conversions. And,
Right.
and conversions is not a super high-tech thing to set up, but if you don't know, you don't know. And then you end up not measuring the thing that you're using it for. In fact, I'd say that Google Ads is the best lead gen method out there, except that for some businesses, it's the worst. It's a complete waste of money. And you really should do your research up front. And you're going to get a pretty good indication from the keyword planner of what you're in for, cost per clicks and projections. It's got loads of data and it's really helpful with that. And you can make a call before investing your money. So that's probably the biggest mistake.
Something that you've already kind of answered, but I'm kind of getting more detail into it, is Google Ads. I can try to do it myself. I could probably hire it out. What would be your suggestion for the first question?
We deal with a few different types of business owners. In this case, we'd be dealing with a business owner, and the business owner will either come from an operations background, and plumbers it usually is. The owner of a plumbing company usually started doing their trade as a plumber and has come through doing the plumbing. But sometimes you get people from a accounting background. Sometimes you get people from a legal background. Sometimes you get people from an HR background. And sometimes you get people from a sales and marketing background.
Right.
Now, if you're from a sales and marketing background, you might really enjoy learning and getting good at Google Ads. And in that case, it might be worth you doing it. But if you come from one of the other backgrounds, unless it's really interesting to you, you're probably not going to like it, and you're probably not going to be any good at it because you've just come from a different discipline. So mostly you're better off getting someone else to do it because they have the experience to fault find and get things working faster than somebody with no experience. So our team would look at an account, and our Google Ads manager, Heidi, can look and see within a few minutes what's wrong with the campaign. Whereas if you've never done Google Ads before, you just don't know. You just don't know what's working, what should be, what shouldn't be there. But Heidi's benchmarked maybe hundreds of campaigns, maybe thousands. It'd be very interesting to add them up. And so she can just see very quickly. Actually, there's an old saying about plumbers is you don't pay a plumber to come to your house and bang on your pipes. You pay a plumber to know which pipes to bang on. And that's very much the case with Google Ads as well. And with anything that you have expertise on, you come in, you know what the issue is, you fix that issue, you test and measure, you look for other issues, you optimize, and you continue rolling. But you've gone to the most obvious causes really quickly because of that expertise.
But let's say I've taken up some consultancy. I've kind of learned from an expert now how to do Facebook and Google Ads. I mean, in the sense that I'm not really doing it, but like my consultancy is pretty much doing that. They've mentioned SEO now, and they've talked about on-page and off-page SEO. As a person who's in the plumbing business and not really had any marketing background, could you maybe give us a brief of on-page and off-page SEO and how exactly it can help impact a website?
Sure. So when somebody builds a website, they're usually building it for people to look at. It's got nice pictures on it, nice colors. It's got nice words on it that are helpful, that encourage you to buy from them. That's usually the way someone will build a website. And that's great. In fact, it's right.
Right.
But if Google, which is not a person, Google's an algorithm, if Google doesn't understand your website, then it's not going to show it to people. So you've got to get this Google bit right and the people bit right. It's both and, it's not either or.
Right.
So Google's algorithm has over 300 factors in it. And I guess you could broadly divide them up between off-page and on-page. I have a leaning towards on-page, that you should do as much on-page optimization as possible first. It's the easiest bit, the thing you have the most control over. So a few things on page is just around the content. And like I talked about Google Ads, you need to do keyword research. You need to do SEO keyword research as well. But with SEO, you want all the keywords. You want to rank for as many as you can because the clicks are free. And so we talked about those informational keywords like questions. It's great to rank for those. They get you more traffic. They get you more awareness. They might attract backlinks. There's a whole stack of great reasons to do those. But what you're going to do again is you're going to work out your A-class keywords, the high value keywords, and optimize a page for those. Then figure out your B-class keywords and optimize pages for those as well. And then you're going to track your rankings. So you might rank for a word like, what was I talking to a client about? Timber frames. You might rank, position 18. So you're at the bottom of the second page for that. You go, okay, I've got a good opportunity here. I'm not on the front page where nobody's seeing me yet, but I'm close. So you've got a good opportunity to go and optimize that page, get all the right keywords on it, make the information as helpful as possible. We use tools that use AI to compare it to all the other results that are coming up, and it'll tell us what our page is missing so we can go and add that on. Relaunch the page and see what happens. It's this optimization process, and it might go from position 18 up to position 9. You go, great, position 9. What more can we do to push it higher? So that's one example of on-page. The other on-page thing is all of the technical aspects of SEO. That's how fast your site loads, all your metadata, all of the
robot
mental
TXT,
blank.
meta, schema
your
markup.
robots TXT and your schema. Schema is the word I was looking for. All of that technical stuff. Now, when someone comes to a website, they don't see any of that. It's all underneath the hood. It's all coding. But Google sees all of it. it's a Google bot comes and reads your code and sees it all. So all of that's going to help as well. So if I give you one piece of advice, it would be to find the keywords that you want to rank for, and then try and give the best, most helpful advice on the entire internet for those keywords in order to rank in your area for those keywords.
Right. That kind of covers the on-page side of things. So one question before I get to the off-page part is, again, this is something that I could probably reach out to the online co for help, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much for technical SEO or even on-page SEO, I can pretty much go to a consultant and be like, hey, listen, it would be cheaper to hire out you than to actually do this myself or get someone in-house.
Now, in-house for SEO, I'd probably just flat recommend don't bother.
Right.
I mean, to do SEO yourself, you need to be a programmer, you need to be a web developer, you need to be a content writer, you need to be a keyword strategist, you need to be a graphic designer, you need to be a video editor. So they're all potentially different people. I mean, we don't have people in our business that do SEO. We have people doing the technical side. We have people doing the content side. We have people doing the strategy side. We have people doing the backlinking side. We have different people performing different functions because they're all so specialized. And the idea that you as a non-marketing, non-digital person is going to get on the learning curve and figure that out is just unlikely. You just need, well, it's just unlikely. People that write content are usually quite different people to those that do coding. And they're often just their brains work differently. You're not gonna find that in one person very often. So you end up needing a team.
Just to kind of give a more practical example, how many people would you require to have a basic SEO team?
I'd have to count how many we have. We have 7 or 8, but I think you could probably get away with 3. 1 web dev person, 1 content writing person, and then you need somebody to be a keyword strategy person. And maybe you could get 2 of them in one. You're probably not going to get all 3 of them in one. Maybe. Yeah. What tends to happen though is if you've got someone that can do all of them, they're usually average at all of them instead of being amazing at one of them. That's usually what happens. I'm sure there's people listening to this going, hey, I can do them all and I'm awesome. I mean, we have a couple of people in our team that can do them all, but they would themselves say, oh, that person's much better at content writing than I am, or that person's much better at coding than I am. But there'll be people in the team with higher strengths than them.
So kind of getting back to the SEO topic then, we kind of drifted a bit off from on-page and off-page SEO. To jump into the off-page SEO side of things, what are some tips and tricks that you could probably share with us?
Well, the first thing is that this is the most abused part of SEO. Probably prior to 2012, it was basically the more backlinks you can get, the better. So people were spamming backlinks everywhere across all sorts of link farms and all sorts of nonsense. So people would get 100,000 backlinks and be ranking higher. And then Google brought in an algorithm called the Penguin algorithm update, and it basically killed off all the dead backlinks. Essentially, people would create websites just to sell backlinks or just to do backlinks. And no people were using them because they were garbage. There's nothing on these sites. And there was millions of these sites. This is a whole industry. And so Google's algorithm was telling it that a site was relevant because it had lots of backlinks, where those backlinks were of no real value at all because nobody was actually using them. So that's the history of backlinking and why you just got to be super careful about backlinking. So I think step 1 for backlinking would be to go and register with all of the high quality directories. There's millions of dodgy directories out there, but you know the ones, in Australia, we've got a bunch of really good directories that people use, and you can jump on them and register for free. Some of them are paid, and you get your name and your details on these directories. Now, you might get work from that directory itself, but you'll also get backlinks as well. So that's actually a good test. Is somebody going to click on this link on that website and come to my website, or maybe even contact me as a result of this backlink? That's a good test. The next thing you can do is to search for unlinked mentions. So if the online code is mentioned somewhere, but there's no link on it, you can reach out to that website and say, would you mind updating that with a link to us to give us the backlink? They've already mentioned you, so it's less of a hassle for them. The next would be like guest blogging outreaching. So you're going to outreach to people who have sites that are relevant to you. So for us, it could be business sites or coaching sites or mentoring sites or accounting sites, those sorts of things where people might be looking for business advice or marketing advice. And you can say, you can either say, would you like us to write an article for your blog and then get a blog posted on their blog roll? Or would you mind giving us a backlink from an existing article, that sort of thing? That process is super slow and laborious, but you get good quality backlinks. The other thing you can do is go into the whole world of PR, engage a PR company to get you articles in newspapers and online journals and a whole bunch of things, and that can create not only backlinks but public relations awareness for you at the same time. On backlinking, if the thought ever pops into your mind, if I do this, I'm going to be able to game Google's algorithm, it's a bad idea. Forget it. Google have 1,000 PhDs working on their algorithm every day. If you think you're going to outwit them, you're wrong. You're not. Good luck.
Yeah. What could I do to kind of identify whether or not they are a good agency or not a good agency?
So what I would do is go and look at some example backlinks. So I mean, we have the skill to do that, but I'd be looking at those sites. I'd be looking at the quality of the content on it. I'd be asking myself just the honest sniff test. Does it pass the smell test? Does this look like a real website, or does it just look spammy?
Right.
If it's got a good theme on it and people are writing articles on it and the articles are good and helpful and they've got a good social media following and it's being engaged with, we would use a tool called Ahrefs to see what its backlink profile is or what its traffic is like. Look at its own backlink, profile. We would do a number of tests like that, but you can just go to the site if you're not skilled and give it the sniff test. Does this website stink? Because if it does, it's not just, you're just wasting your money.
What are some tools that you would recommend people to kind of use if they want to learn a bit more about, let's say, digital marketing or SEO?
To learn it or when doing it?
To actually use it.
Yeah. So, okay. I'll go through our tech stack. We use Ahrefs. We used to use Ahrefs and SEMrush. They're both terrific. We just figured we didn't need both. We use SEO Surfer. It gives you terrific insights into how to optimize a page. We use ChatGPT. We use Jasper AI as well for AI. Use AI with caution. It's not going to write the articles for you. It's going to help you start, and that's about it. We use Bright Local for our local SEO. I'm sure I'm going to miss some. For social media, we use Sprout Social. There's a lot of different scheduling software. There's Hootsuite and Buffer and a few others. For a business like ours, we've gone for a higher end solution, Sprout Social.
Right.
There's all sorts of other bits and pieces. Things like Zapier that help you link up things with automations. Our preferred CRM is ActiveCampaign. I'd have to go through the list. I think I've mentioned a few of them, though, quite a few of them.
Yeah. So we pretty much talked a lot about digital marketing in general. But we did talk right in the beginning about traditional marketing and how it's still not really dead as such. It's still kind of relevant. So one question is, will it become obsolete with the new age of AI? Or do you think it'll still be here for the next couple of years?
I think it's, well, you've got to ask the bigger question. So we've jumped into the tactics. How do you do Google Ads? How do you do SEO? The bigger question is, where are my customer? Who is my customer? How do I communicate to them at the right time with the right message? Now, if that's offline, because you have a big building and you can put a sign out the front, or because you have cars or trucks driving around the city, you can wrap them with your brand, then do it. And if your target market are listening to the radio or they're watching TV and it's worthwhile doing, then do it. none of those things are wrong. It's case specific though.
Right.
And, if they're not watching TV, or they're, sending them something in the mail is not of any use, then don't do it. But the idea that somehow analog marketing's dead and digital's all there is, I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Right. Because people are still walking on the roads and driving cars and
That's right.
watching TV. Also, one question is, how does one really assess the need for it? How do I really know that's where my audience is?
Offline.
Yeah. Like, how do I know that I'm more offline
Yeah.
than they are online?
Yeah, and that's the difficulty. That's why digital marketing has become so big. Offline marketing is mostly unmeasurable. That doesn't mean it doesn't work. Just because I can't measure it doesn't mean it doesn't work.
Right.
But you're going to have to get some sort of indication of what it's achieving, whether it's top of funnel awareness, mid funnel education, or lower funnel lead gen. You're going to have to get some idea. Offline traditionally was unattainable. It was just too expensive to get on TV. Was super expensive,
Right.
and they're the barriers. If you have trucks driving around the streets and you want to put your logo on it and your phone number on it, you're going to say, how much does it cost to wrap my car versus a month's worth of Google ads? And you can say, hey, it's going to cost me half a month's worth of Google ads or something. Let's do it. You're just going to increase my brand awareness. People get the number when they're sitting at the lights. People see me. It's going to help. So you do it. Whether you can measure it or not, and you look at it as an investment in your brand. But it's really a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, I don't think everyone can pretty much shift to traditional marketing, or at least keep on investing in that. It kind of depends on what exactly you are offering. But at least it is kind of known now that it's not like a dead tactic. It is still a tactic very much used. What would be your preferred traditional marketing tactic, if you have one?
Oh gosh, I don't know that I have one, to be honest. I mean, we like to do networking, just go and meet people and talk to them. Often when we're talking to people and we say we're in digital marketing, most people struggle with their marketing. We've developed a process to help solve that. People are like, oh, can you help me? It's often that simple. I think there's a lack of trust in the digital industry because it is new. A lot of people have been burnt. So when somebody meets you and they go, oh, you're a real person, you're making sense when you talk to me, I think I like you, then they want to do business with you.
Yeah, they're more likely to do that.
Whereas that's harder in digital.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to do that over an email than in person.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So again, considering everything that we have talked about, how exactly is AI now going to disrupt all of that, or is it already disrupting all of that?
Yeah. So ChatGPT launched either early December, late November 2022, last year.
Yeah.
We were using AI for content writing about 6 months earlier than that. So when it came out, it wasn't really a surprise to us. Now, there's this thing called the Gartner hype cycle. It's a concept that Gartner came up with, and it talks about how new technology comes out and then people get very excited about it. So it goes up this curve. It's called the peak of inflated expectations, and people say, wow, this technology is going to solve all these problems, and it's going to cost everybody their jobs. People are saying it's going to kill everyone. Like, there's all these sort of inflated expectations. Now, for us, when we started, we went, oh, wow, this tool, and we started with Jasper, this tool can write articles for us. And it would take maybe 3 or 4 articles for a human to write a really high quality article that's maybe 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 words. It takes time. It needs to be checked and edited and then launched. So the whole process is time consuming. We're like, maybe AI can fix this for us. Maybe it can deliver us 8 out of 10 content that we can then just edit a little bit. And instead of taking 4 hours, maybe we can do them in 1 hour. Or maybe we could even do them in half an hour. Maybe the tech's that good. So we are right up there, the top of the inflated expectations. Now, pretty soon, we dropped all the way down to the trough of disillusionment, where we're like,
Right.
oh, this content, oh, maybe it's only a 6 out of 10. It needs a lot of effort. I think today we sit at it's maybe a 3 or 4 out of 10. It's
Right.
not the end solution at all. Now, if you're going to sit there and write an article on commercial plumbing in Sydney, and you're going to open up a Word document, it's blank, that's hard. What the AI can do is it can give me some ideas. So write 10 ideas about commercial plumbing in Sydney. So that's good. You can even say, write me an intro on commercial plumbing, and that's good. And we have AI that's feeding us with ideas. It can also tell us what keywords we should be using. It gives us all these helpers. But at the end of the day, if I tell it to write a 1,500 word article, it's going to be the most bland, boilerplate, boring content. Nobody's going to write it. People can pretty much these days, we're not even 6 months in, 7 months in. People know, they go, oh, that's AI content. Google knows. Google could detect it. It's got no personality to it. It's got no anecdotes, no case studies. It might be full of factually incorrect things. It's got problems, right? So it's a really great helper, and it's not going to do the work for you.
In terms of the future, do you see a lot of people embracing it, or do you feel like a lot of people might start rising up against it?
No, I think people will embrace it. I think once people understand that it's helpful, they'll embrace it.
Right.
All of the conspiracy theories and all of those things. I mean, there's always a negative side to new technology. Like I remember thinking social media was amazing when it first came out because it connected me with everyone I'd ever known. Now social media is a bit of a toxic place where people get angry, and so there's always a negative side to these things. And ChatGPT, I imagine, will be the same.
Right.
But AI, I imagine, will be the same. And there'll be some dark places there, but in your everyday life, I mean, for us, it's just been really helpful. It's been really helpful. Yeah, it's not solved problems. It's not taken jobs off people. It has sped some things up and others not. It's made us more efficient in some areas and more accurate in others. So if people use it as it's meant to be, it's a great tool.
What are 3 books that you would recommend our viewers and listeners? And we can probably add that to our compilation.
Yeah, no worries. Well, the first book would be Good to Great by Jim Collins, and it has a sort of sister book called Built to Last. So those two are outstanding. They've done research on some of the most successful businesses in the US over an extended period and analysed what it is about them that's made them successful. It's really well written. It's really interesting, and it's really formed a lot of my business experience.
Right.
Another one's called Traction by Gino Wickman. Gino has designed a system called the EOS, the Entrepreneurial Operating System, which is a system for business people to run their businesses. Within a business, you've got a whole stack of things you need to do. You need to hire the right people. You need to have meetings where you are actioning items and moving through them and getting them done. There's a whole, and it gives you a whole stack of frameworks and systems for you to run your business. Rather than go out and invent it all yourself, you just go and use his system, and away you go. So that was a game changer for us as a business. The other one is called Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. It's a system of prioritizing the profit from your business and taking it out of your account every week or every month. So you take your profit out first. It's based on a principle that says if you've got X dollars in your account, you'll spend it all. But if you take some of it out, you will then live off the remainder. Because most entrepreneurs and business people don't pay themselves profit, they don't pay themselves super, and they don't look after themselves properly. That changed our approach to the way we run business on a financial level that I found very helpful. Actually matches in with another book. Can I do a fourth? It's called The Barefoot Investor by Scott Pape, which is not for business, it's for personal. But we operate the same principles in our business and our personal lives around buckets of money and putting putting money into different accounts in order to manage your money. Just take away the headaches and make that all easier. So
I'm
sorry for
sorry,
the fourth one.
what was the fourth one called again?
It's called The Barefoot Investor by Scott Pape.
All right, okay. Yeah, no worries about that. 4 books is fine. Do you have 3 podcasts as well, or do you want to add a 5th book instead?
Oh, gosh. I don't have 3 business podcasts. I actually listen to podcasts for fun.
You can mention those as well.
So I'll go back to Gino Wickman. He's written a series of books, so he's worth following as an author. One's called Rocket Fuel, about how an entrepreneur needs a person that works with him, like an operations person. He calls the entrepreneur. Oh no, it's just jumped out of my head. Yeah, you need an entrepreneur and an operations person to work together. He talks about that dynamic. There's another one called The Entrepreneurial Leap. That's a really good one if you're starting a new business. He's helping you assess what sort of entrepreneur you are and to understand yourself. There's the EOS Life. That's one I just read. Talks about what your lifestyle should look like if you're owning a business. There's a few others. There's one called The Dysfunctions of a Team. Anyway, he's got this series of books, and they're all great. They're all really helpful. I've read them all.
So thank you so much for the chat, James. It was really great. I actually learned a little bit more because you kind of gave it into very bite-sized information. You didn't really go too technical about it. So thanks a lot for that. And I hope we can
You're
get you
welcome.
for the second episode as well.
Yeah, no worries.
Thanks for watching that episode. I hope you enjoyed. For more videos like this, make sure you like and subscribe.